A couple years ago, I came across this video of a taxi driver in Osaka, Japan. The guy fills his tank, comes out to roughly $41, and then he just drives. For work, every single day. City traffic, highway transfers, passenger pickups. And he doesn't refuel for almost 3 weeks. Now I drive a mid-size sedan. Nothing fancy. And I'm lucky if a full tank gets me 9, maybe 10 days. So when I saw that, I thought, what does this guy know that I don't? Turns out, it's not one thing. It's a whole system. A set of driving and maintenance habits that have been taught across Japan for over 20 years. The Japanese government literally built a national program around this. And the results? Some drivers report cutting their fuel consumption by 20 to 35%. Not by buying a hybrid, not by spending a single dollar on upgrades. Just by changing how they drive and how they maintain what they already own. And the kicker? Gas stations, fuel companies, the entire petroleum supply chain, they have zero incentive to tell you any of this. Every gallon you save is a gallon they don't sell. So let's break the whole thing down. Every technique, the real numbers, and why this stuff actually works from an engineering standpoint, not just some internet gimmick. Here's something that might sting a little. The average American driver wastes somewhere between 20 and 30% of every single tank of gas they buy. Not because their car is bad, not because they're driving some old beater. It's the habits. Hard acceleration from every stoplight. Sitting in drive-thrus with the engine running for 8 minutes. Tires that haven't been checked since the last oil change. 65 pounds of random stuff in the trunk that's been there since last summer. And look, I'm not judging. I did all of this. Every single one. Most people do, because nobody teaches fuel-efficient driving in America. It's just not part of the culture. You get your license, they tell you to check your mirrors, and that's about it. In Japan, completely different. Fuel efficiency is baked into the driving culture at a national level, and there's a reason for that. Back in 2003, Japan's Ministry of the Environment launched something called the EcoDrive program. The goal was straightforward: reduce fuel consumption across the country through driver behavior education. Not new technology, not mandates on car manufacturers, just teaching people how to drive smarter. They partnered with driving schools, fleet operators, taxi companies, and municipal governments. They created standardized guidelines, 10 specific principles for fuel-efficient driving, and then they tracked the results. Here's what they found, and this is from their published data. Drivers who followed the program consistently saw fuel economy improvements between 15 and 25%. Fleet operators in some cases reported even higher. We're talking real, measured, documented gains. Just from changing behavior behind the wheel. Now think about what that means in dollars. If you're spending $200 a month on gas, which is roughly the American average right now, a 20% reduction puts $40 back in your pocket every single month. That's $480 a year. From doing things that cost you nothing. So let's get into the actual techniques. The first one is called Funwari Axle in Japanese. It roughly translates to gentle acceleration or soft touch gas pedal. And this single habit alone accounts for the biggest chunk of fuel savings in the entire program. Here's the principle. When you press the gas pedal hard from a stop, your engine dumps a massive amount of fuel into the cylinders to generate that burst of torque. Your fuel injectors go wide open. You're burning at peak consumption rates for those first 5 to 10 seconds of acceleration. Japanese technique? It takes about 5 seconds to reach 15 miles per hour from a stop. That's it. You're not crawling. You're not holding up traffic. You're just not flooring it. The measured savings from this one change? About 11% improvement in fuel economy. 11%. From just easing onto the gas pedal for 5 seconds at every stop. And here's the thing. Most people don't even notice when you do this. I've been practicing it for months now. Nobody behind me has honked. Nobody's flashing their lights. It feels completely normal once you get used to it. You're just smoother. Okay, this one blew my mind when I actually understood the physics behind it. Every time you hit your brake pedal, here's what's actually happening from an energy standpoint. You spent money on gasoline. That gasoline was converted to kinetic energy, motion. When you brake, your brake pads clamp onto your rotors and convert that kinetic energy into heat. That heat dissipates into the air. You are literally burning money and turning it into hot air. That's what braking is, from a fuel cost perspective. Japanese eco-driving teaches something I call predictive coasting. Instead of driving right up to a red light and braking hard, you read the road ahead. You see that light turn yellow 2 blocks up? You lift off the gas now. Let the car coast. Decelerate naturally. Maybe you don't even need to touch the brake at all. The light goes green while you're still rolling at 15 miles per hour, and you gently accelerate from there. The savings here vary depending on your driving environment, but studies show this technique alone can improve fuel economy by 8 to 12%. And it has a bonus. You save your brake pads and rotors. Less heat cycling, less wear. Some Japanese taxi drivers go over 60,000 miles on a single set of brake pads because they barely use them. But here's one that's even simpler than that. Alright, this one drives me a little crazy because it's so easy. It costs absolutely nothing, and almost nobody does it. Your tire pressure. That's it. That's the trick. According to the NHTSA, roughly 70% of cars on American roads are running on underinflated tires. Not dangerously low, just a few PSI under the recommended spec. And here's what that does to your fuel economy. For every 1 PSI that all 4 tires are underinflated, you lose about 0.2% fuel efficiency. Doesn't sound like much. Average underinflation is about 5 to 7 PSI. That's a 1 to 2% hit on every single mile you drive. Over a year, that adds up fast. Japanese eco-driving guidelines are specific about this. Check your tire pressure at least once a month. Cold tires. Morning before you've driven. Use the number on the sticker inside your driver's door jamb, not the number on the tire sidewall. Those are different numbers. The door jamb number is what your car was engineered for. Takes about 4 minutes at a gas station air pump. Many of them are free. Some charge $1 or $2. But the return on this is absurd. You'll save that dollar within a single tank of gas. If you've ever been to Japan, you've seen the signs. They're everywhere. In parking lots, at train crossings, outside schools. Idling stop. In Japan, turning off your engine when you're stopped for more than about 30 seconds is just normal. It's expected. Newer Japanese market cars have had automatic idle stop systems for over a decade. But even in older cars, drivers just turn the key. And the math supports it. Idling a typical 4-cylinder engine burns about 1/4 to 1/2 gallon of gas per hour. Sit in a drive-thru for 10 minutes. That's roughly 8 cents to 15 cents of gas gone. Do that once a day for a year, you're looking at $30 to $50 just from idling at the drive-thru. Now add in warming up your car in winter, which modern fuel-injected engines don't actually need more than about 30 seconds of, by the way, and sitting in parking lots scrolling your phone with the engine running and idling in school pickup lines. Some estimates put the average American's idle time at over 15% of total engine runtime. That's 15% of your fuel bill going literally nowhere. Now, I'm not saying turn your car off at every red light. That's hard on your starter if your car wasn't designed for it. But the situations where you're sitting for more than a minute, kill the engine. It's that simple. All right, pop quiz. What's in your trunk right now? Be honest. Because I did this experiment a few months ago, and I pulled out a set of golf clubs I hadn't used in 4 months, a bag of sand from a winter driving kit I never returned to the garage, 3 reusable shopping bags, a toolbox, and a case of water bottles that had been there since, honestly, I don't know. Total weight, about 85 pounds, just sitting there, riding around with me everywhere I went. Here's why that matters. For every 100 pounds of extra weight in your vehicle, fuel economy drops by about 1 to 2%. It doesn't sound dramatic, but it compounds with everything else. You're already losing efficiency from hard acceleration, from underinflated tires, from idling. Now add the weight tax on top. Clean your car out. Keep the emergency kit, the spare, the jack. Lose everything else. If you don't need it today, it doesn't ride with you today. Now, I want to be clear about something. I'm not saying there's some shadowy conspiracy where oil executives are meeting in a bunker to suppress eco-driving tips. That's not what this is. But think about it from a pure business standpoint. Gas stations make money when you buy gas. The more often you fill up, the more often you walk inside and buy a $4 coffee and a bag of chips. The entire business model, from the refinery to the pump, is built on consumption volume. So why on earth would any gas station put up a sign that says, "Hey, check your tire pressure and you'll need to come here less often"? Japan did it because their government prioritized energy independence and environmental goals. They made fuel efficiency a national education initiative. In the US, fuel economy education basically doesn't exist outside of a few EPA web pages that nobody reads. The information isn't suppressed, it's just not promoted. There's no money in teaching you to use less of the thing they sell. So the knowledge sits there, available but invisible, until someone puts it in front of you. So let's stack all of this up. Gentle acceleration, 11% savings. Predictive coasting, 8 to 12%. Proper tire pressure, 1 to 2%. Reducing idle time, variable, but potentially 5 to 10% depending on your habits. Dropping unnecessary weight, another 1 to 2%. Now, these don't all add up perfectly. There's overlap, and your actual numbers depend on your car, your commute, your driving environment. But real-world tests in the Japanese program consistently show total improvements in the range of 20 to 30% for drivers who adopt all of these habits together. On a $200 monthly gas budget, that's $40 to $60 a month, $500 to $700 a year. Without buying anything, without modifying anything, without changing your car, just driving differently, and paying attention to a few things you've been ignoring. Look, is this going to make your fuel bill literally $0? No, that title's doing what titles do. But can you cut your fuel spending by a quarter or more? The data says absolutely yes. Millions of Japanese drivers prove it every single day. Here's what I want to know. Drop a comment and tell me which one of these you're going to try first. Honestly, the gentle acceleration one is the easiest starting point, but I'm curious what catches your attention. And if this kind of practical, no BS content is your thing, real techniques, real savings, no gimmicks, I've got more coming. I'm working on a deep dive into why Japanese cars consistently hit higher real-world fuel economy numbers than their EPA ratings suggest. It's a fascinating rabbit hole. Hit subscribe so you catch that when it drops. All right, go check your tire pressure. Seriously, do it today. You'll thank me at the pump.